All right, we're live recording. This is a little review for Chipperino et al. For OG Maps. Um, let's go start with Badwater. Do you know if there's any specific version? I'm just gonna go with the last one that was played,
Oh,
which was V12.
let me see. I'll take a look right now.
I'm not gonna download any RGL version, so I'll just we'll see if
I just
it's.
looked the one that is the closest to.
Alright,
It
that'll be
is.
V12 most likely. They didn't really change much
Yeah,
in
it's
the subsequent
V12.
versions. Um, Man, Badwater. I'll give the same disclaimer. Sorry for hearing this twice. In case you're watching the recording, um, just like any mentor, or just like anyone who's reviewing with you, whatever I say is not gospel. It's not absolute. The game changes a lot, and I haven't been around forever, and I haven't been around recently, and I don't really plan to come back. Um, that being said, that point gets even worse when we consider the last time these maps were played. Last time I played Badwater, I believe was the last time that it was played officially. That was season 24 of UGC, which I hate to say it because it almost shows my age, but I think that was almost 7 or 8 years ago now. Waste, I played even before that. I don't even want to put a number on the last time I played Waste. What was the third map? Granary?
Granary.
Okay. I've never played Granary in a serious matter in Highlander. Played it a ton in Sixes, obviously, but so there's a lot of disclaimers here. This is just to give you any sort of semblance of information from someone who last played it. Um, you know, the most important thing with anything TF2 wise, but really any competitive game, is being flexible. That is how you win. Is reacting on the fly and being dynamic with your situation. So you can't just give one set of instructions and it work every time. That won't work for competitive games. Period. So this is just to give you a bit of perspective of stuff that we used to do, and some of the information that I have. So, starting with Badwater, we'll start with Badwater defense. Most people are going to be familiar with the general setup. Usually the gun is over here. Dispenser is usually around this corner. Combo usually plays up here. Dispenser is usually in this nook. Heavies like to heavy play style can vary. Sometimes you have heavies that play close, some that play far. Demos are generally around your heavy as well, trying not to take the same splash. On the side, you usually have flank snipers like to play here, soldier as well. There's an alternate hold where people are a bit more concentrated, where they'll have combo and nest, and then they'll also have flank over here instead, with maybe supporting a sniper that's more so playing safe, kind of leaving this area for dead. Pack, I think, is the last call out I remember for this, or rocks. Snipers playing over here gives them a better angle, but it's more dangerous because you're more susceptible to getting stabbed or rushed by flank. The whole point here is to deny their combo from trying to take control of this area. This is very disadvantageous for an offense. If they try to walk into you, you have a pyro heavy, that can immediately blast them, or take an Uber point blank. Your demo can play this safe the entire time. This is very, very good for demo. A lot of angles. You can get a lot of safe spam without peeking a sight line at all. You have an immediate spam angle to two fucking spawn doors. This entire labyrinth. You can hard lock this without being in any sight line. The biggest threat to your entire team is going to be this sight line right here. Sniper getting over here is going to be very, very good, and he can get there very, very quickly. So making sure that your sniper, your flank, and your spy has this on lockdown is very important. And if they don't, then don't peek it, just like any other thing on sniper. If you don't have control of a sight line, that's okay. Just don't peek it. The main crux of this is going to rely on denying this tunnel exit. Generally, offenses, especially offense Ubers, should fail when they go over here because this is so much in the advantage of the defense. So the big thing here is going to be focusing on this exit tunnel. By the time Cart gets around this exit tunnel, or it gets past it, their team's going to start making moves of either flooding Cart or having a combination of split pushing where they send some players up top, some through tunnel, some wide, and try to crunch you. This is pretty good for offense from this point because you don't really have an escape route. There are alternate holds you can use on first that I'll mention very quickly towards the end. But this is kind of where the defense starts to fall apart. Once you start getting pinched from 3, 4 doorways, 1, 2, 3, and then maybe even 4, you're fucked. And that's okay because first isn't meant to be the mega hold. Um, with this being said, you can still obviously buy time if they go through tunnel and you have your players swap around. So sometimes a heavy likes to go right here or right here. Sometimes it's a demo. You can kind of think of it like Vigil second defense, if you catch my drift. If you can deny, one or two doorways with a demo, hard locking one, you're heavy hard locking the other, and your sniper wins an SVS, you will get time on first. First is not awful. It's nowhere near a upward first sort of holdable, but you definitely can get time on first. So don't give up immediately once their cart gets tunnel. Still try, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. That's the general essence of first defense. Um, there are ways to clutch this. So let's say you lose a fight, or like you've only lost like 3 or 4 players to where you want to stick around, but it's kind of that awkward spot. You can do something called a passive hold or a back hold, where you set up a gun like over here or over here. And you kind of just play for tracks instead. This is very common on trying to milk time and a lot of other maps. This is definitely the worst case of it here, because look at all this height disadvantage you have, and look at all these different doorways. Even though this, most of the player base doesn't consider this doorways, as you get better, generally that's what you consider them. So like this is a doorway, this is a doorway, this is a doorway. There's so many places where the offense can come from that it makes it disadvantageous. But if you lose a couple players but still have control, you could try to do a passive hold, milk out some more time on the cart. You're just trying to focus the tracks the entire time. If their sniper shows, you have to leave or win the SVS, either by having your sniper obviously win the SVS or have a pick classes or your flank bomb him. Don't overcommit to little milk holds like this. This is kind of more advanced. This is just to let you know that this exists. I'm not encouraging you to do it if you're not comfortable with it. That's first defense. Second defense is funny because this has changed a bit. The last time that we did it, so just to give you a bit of a short history from what I understand it when I played, it started off with the tried and true roof hold, and then people were like, roof hold is bad, and then it switched to more of a track hold, and then it went back to roof hold again. That is just my experience. I'm sure it's changed. It'll change even more. Might be interesting to see what the modern take of players are on this. But the last time it was played, roof hold was still back in meta. And it's pretty good. So roof hold is kind of what the name implies. You have phenomenal, massive, disgusting height advantage on a roof with a very sharp 90-degree angle that makes it hard to spam out. So guns are usually tight. Guns are usually around here, maybe a bit more towards the middle at worst. You don't want to have your gun wide because that makes it susceptible to spam and snipers. You want to make it hard for the offense. Tunnel or the stairs is usually held by a combination of heavy or demo or soldier. You can rotate these. You can have separate callouts for them. That's okay. From my experience, generally it'd be me rotating there every once in a while, kind of treating it like tunnel on Vigil second defense, while my soldier more so holds the flank back here, which matters a lot. Your nest is up here, heavy medic is up here. You can make tellies and dispensers that go on top of this. Pyro is a really good job on this point. If anyone gets over here, you can air blast them off the stairs, air blast them off the roof. You can deny bombs very easily. It's a big wide open space, ammo mod. So Pyro has a decent time here. You just bunker on here is really the short way to say it. The alternate hold to that is to do what I said earlier, where you could have more of a cart hold or a tracks hold. This, from what I remember, does better than you think, but it is definitely worse than roof hold traditionally. So I would kind of think of it in the same vein as you did with the first kind of salvage hold. If stuff gets fucked up on roof, but you're still winning, maybe you trade like 3 for 6, but you can't really commit to roof anymore. You could back up and try to milk another 30, 45 seconds off second before you leave. But I would just try this. I would have your scout with your soldier a decent amount of the time if you can. Scout with your demo is okay here. Uber exchanges, I really don't know what to predict. I don't really know what people are going to do, especially in your div. They should not take an Uber main or tracks. This is very poor. I guess now that I say it, every single Uber is poor, so I guess we got to pick the lesser of the evils. Taking Uber here is nice because you have immediate access to a gun, but their engineer should wrangle it, and you're probably just going to spend the entire Uber on the gun. The upside is that it's also really accessible for the offense. But this is really easy to shut down as a defense because you have massive height advantage. Stairs is fucked. I don't like ever taking Uber stairs. Especially if their pyro's alive. Their pyro is dead. There's like more of a case of like, okay, maybe you could get in here fast, but they should always have someone watching this. They should have a heavy body blocking this with their Uber too. Stairs, I think, is a bait. Backstairs is going to be really telegraphed. Their flank and spy should be watching it. If you try to take an Uber all the way back here, you're just isolating yourself, and then even worse back here. So, remember when I said lesser of evils? Honestly, when I phrase it like that, I think that your best chance on this fucked point might be tracks. I remember doing tracks Ubers a lot. I think we tried a stairs Uber a couple times, like maybe like on one hand the amount of times between scrims and matches over several seasons, and it maybe worked once. It really requires on them dropping the ball and not having information and having a pyro or heavy down so that they don't body block you. It's just a complete choke and you're gonna get fucked here. So, honestly, if I were you, I'd probably just start with the tracks Uber, even though it's kind of sucks. Um, but if you could guarantee get the gun and maybe have a soldier, do a high bomb and jump over either for during or post, that could be good. You could have a flank member run up these stairs. You could have like a heavy go up these stairs with someone, scout or spy flank. You can make this work. Have your sniper wide swing. I think it's gonna be have the most access for you, but it's not gonna be that good. I guess I've kind of shifted into doing offense and defense at the same time. So I think I've mainly gone over defense. I went over offense on how I'd push it. Um, the biggest thing you want to do is get this point over with as soon as possible. First, second is infamously short. You can see this track duration is nothing. Get second over with. Even though it seems like a good defense for second, and it can be, it's very volatile. It's kind of on thin ice. If anything crumbles, they're kind of fucked. So just get second done with. Bombs are fine. I think I've talked about second enough. Um,
Where do you want your sniper on the second defense? On the roof, or should he like be peeking tracks?
Second defense, if you're on roof, your sniper roof's gonna be the safest bet. You could have him doing these harsher angles. This is a great sightline for a sniper, but he has to be supported. And I would only really sit here as a sniper if you guys are doing the more passive hold. Um, yeah, second on sniper can be a little bit rough because it's just an awkward angle in terms of sightlines. But you have some options. You have immediate access to shut down flank if you're safe. You can shut down people who are peeking main. So it's okay. It's just a bit awkward.
If you lose control of roof, is there an option to refight it, or is it just
No,
fucked?
I would just give it up. Kind of treat it like refighting C on CP Steel. If you lose C, I would hope that
Mm.
you guys know at this point that like don't refight C as like a general trope. Um, don't refight roof. It would take a very dramatic circumstance for that to be okay. So like if you somehow lose roof or you had a scrappy fight and it's like you got close to wiping them, they have like one or two up, you could try to salvage it. But just like repushing C on defensive steel, just like trying to retake tiles on defensive upward last, it's really risky. It is a good hold, but there's so much risk in getting your team spawners back up there, and your guys' telly's probably gonna be dead that I wouldn't. If you guys hard lose roof, but you still somehow have second and they're not pushing it, I would just do the passive hold for 30-45 seconds before I left. Um, First offense, since I guess I'm doing them at the same time. Sorry for jumping around a little bit. First offense, you can kind of take what I said and do the reciprocal of it. First offense, in my opinion, you want to get the cart to the end of tunnel as fast as fucking possible. To set up exactly for what I said the weakness of the defense was. Give yourself another opening. Give yourself another doorway to come from. Ubers up top here are useless. I don't. I honestly, if I was playing in this, I wouldn't even take an Uber up top, even though this is, the classic thing that everyone used to do. We were, I think players back then, in my opinion, had better DM, but had worse game sense because, we didn't have as much experience playing. The metas were more, we had less information to go off of, even though I do think the DM of players back then was better, but I digress. I'm just being a boomer. I wouldn't take Ubers across you anymore. Even though this has been done for millennia, I don't think there's any fucking value in this anymore. If you have a sniper kill, or if you have a sniper sightline denied, hugging this wall, taking an Uber can be okay. It's kind of rough because by the time you peek here, you definitely need to be invincible, and there's a bit of way to cover. So if their team has any semblance of a brain cell, they should just have a pyro bot into you and air blast you. So tunnel Ubers are also kind of you get immediate access to their team, kind of behind. You can get a gun quickly. But the thing is, like, you don't really have the space to work with for post. If assuming all things equal and you don't really get anything massive, you'll have to back up in a tunnel, which is unpreferable. You don't gain any space, and the whole point of an Uber is to make space to set yourself up for the post. You win fights through post, not the Uber. So Ubers on this point are just kind of fucked. There's not a great answer. Uh, I would just like anything else in Highland or any other competitive game, abuse what you have to your advantage. If you kill an engineer, try to use that to steer your decisions. If you have a sniper pick, use that to steer your decisions. If a sniper sightline's open, you have a lot more space to walk up your free lane and get a bit farther before you use. So, um, the last thing I'll mention for this is that if their pyro's dead, then you could try it. But again, this is just such a rough Uber because you're on a pit, you can immediately get blasted, body blocked, all that. That I would try something else. First is just scrappy. Your life is expendable. Use it. You can sack. You can have players flood through tunnel. Once you get the cart to the end of tunnel, which is kind of the big win condition in my opinion, have players go through different doorways. Have a soldier and heavy go through up big rock here or upper. Have your combo go through tunnel. Have a sniper and a flank member stay on the far right. Pinch them from multiple sides. That's how you win most points in TF2 anyways. That's first and second offense. Alright, third. This is the big fucked one. This is when the map really takes a turn for the worst in terms of map layout. Third is Infamous. This is a shithole of a point. It is way too hard to push. Um, there's a lot working for you. General positions on defense is combo sits up here. You have immediate access to shut down 3 doorways. The one that you're most susceptible to is going to be cart, but guess what? Your gun and sniper is watching this the whole time. This is the classic sniper spot. You can see everything. You can see the far side. You can see tracks. You can walk out a little bit more and take take the doorway. You can go up here sniper as well, it makes you a bit more roofed, makes you you would think less susceptible to bombs, but you actually are. Downside of this is spy. You're going to be alone, so I wouldn't recommend it. Generally, snipers are going to play around cinder. Gun is going to be over here. Engineers will know more than me. Sometimes the guns might be up here. I don't really get the point of this. The tried and true gun is either over here or at the base of steps. Dispenser is around there as well. Your demo, just like every other point and every other stopwatch, is rotating. You're denying this doorway and denying this doorway, and doing some safe spam on the tracks if they're overextended. Heavy's with you as well, Pyro's with you as well, Medic's with you as well. You're all pretty concentrated. This makes you very, very susceptible to bombs. Tried and true Braum is for a soldier to bomb you from over here right on top of you, since you're all stacked together. I believe this does have clip brushes as well, so soldier can stand on this and really extend his life by a lot by doing some footsie. So make sure your pyro is washing out the entire time. Pyro and heavy need to be just on big save combo duty, in my opinion, on this point. Hopefully, you can see an Uber well before it happens, between your spy getting calls and your combo having visuals through the glass here. If their combo is telegraphing an Uber hard, you guys should be able to react with it in time and have your pyro stuff it. Which gets to Ubers. If they take an Uber through this doorway or through this doorway, stuff that shit with your pyro. Your demo doesn't need the Uber. Your heavy doesn't need the Uber. Your pyro can stuff it, and those 2 players, your heavy and demo, can play back and be safe. You might not even have to use. This is a good point to milk. If they go through tracks, which honestly is what I'm thinking as under a modern lens, probably my preferred method. This will be harder for you because they're going to be in an awkward angle to where you can't really spam down, and they can get pretty easy access to your gun and sniper without ever having to see your combo. So I actually kind of like the idea of pushing tracks, but I'll get into offense in a second. If they go tracks, you might have to jump down. One of the classic Uber methods is, let's kill the things that aren't shiny. So if they Uber tracks, try to push into here. Can we get anything for free? Try to push into here. Can we get anything for free? Maybe there's some players that are going far. They have flank members or cart pushers that are alone on tracks without a combo, or they're trying to get their pack alone. Kill the things that aren't Ubered, and you'll generally win. you'll win TF2 regardless of game mode. So tracks will probably be your most annoying Uber to deal with, but you have a general idea of how that works now. Spies have the classic jump here. Spies that are good can get really easy access to you on offense. Spies will be a bugger on this point. They'll have high control if they want a gun spy or ambi. They'll constantly get behind if they're playing traditional. Tellies will probably be perma down. Spy on offense is pretty strong on here. Otherwise, this is a pretty decent bunker for defense. Any questions on defense third? Offense third, we kind of alluded to it earlier. Offense third, conversely is fucked. This is a deep choke, like just a straight up nut box, 90-degree corner. People will fight for control of this, but this doesn't really do much for you. Likewise here, sometimes flank, like soldiers or snipers like to go here, but you're in such a deep sight line and their combo is so close to peeking you that it's hard to stay long here as any member of the offense, especially if their spy is playing info spy, because they're just going to call you out and you're going to get pre-fired. So honestly, under a modern lens, in my opinion, I would my preference is on Ubering and having a combo push through tracks. Um, this is a bit unorthodox from what I used to do. I remember distinctly like taking Ubers like through both top left and top right sometimes. In hindsight, I think we were just being silly, even though it was the top of Platte or whatever. But like these are chokes, and I don't want to fuck with these. So if I'm playing in your cup, I'm gonna go tracks as a combo. This is really hard spam angle. This is just really awkward sightline for them. It gives me immediate access to their gun and most likely sniper for a couple seconds. And it should force them to use because it's such an awkward, uncomfortable spot for them. And if you get that Uber out of the defense, you have a lot more to work with. You after the Uber, you can send a post and have your soldier jump and have maybe someone to rush through here, or have a combo go through tracks. Same exact example as first. You might be catching a trend. This is just general Highlander, uh, game sense is get the Uber out and then you win the post, flood the zone, come in from different angles, overwhelm them, and then once you get an inch, take a mile. If you get one or two picks, reset. You don't gotta snowball it, immediately. If you get a pick or two after on offense, slow down, reheal, and then keep going. They have long spawns on defense. It's a really critical thing to remember. So every pick that you get is punishing, and it's a big victory. So if you take an Uber through, main, for example, and you get the engineer gun and a pyro and then back up, that's great. Don't get greedy and say we have to rush. No, no, no. Take a second, reheal, and then now you can work your angles. Maybe you take it wide. Maybe you have players rotate. Now that they have no gun, you can have soldier, scout, and spy all go behind here and play for free. I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, but because I don't really know the div, what your guys' div is, these are just general like really important. I mean, this is how you win competitive games. Um, so I digress, but going back to I think have hit the general ideas. I think the last thing I haven't mentioned is offense for sniper and flank on third. I kind of alluded to it. If you can get back behind here as a spy, then keep doing that. Soldier can be very annoying up here too. If you get behind here as a soldier, their soldier and scout will chase you. So be prepared to either take a battle with your flank or have your spy help out. Otherwise, soldier bombs in this point, you just going ICBM soldier is great from around this house. Their combo, if they're playing the way that we are, is going to be clumped around here. If your sniper is comfortable and is winning SVSs, then having the sightline the entire time will be great for you. Unless I would really highly recommend against ever pushing from either top left or top right as a combo because you're just going to get stuffed. If they're heavy and or pyro's dead, you could risk it. It does give you the most immediate access to them, but you're in a fucking box, so take that as you will. That's third. Any questions? All right. This one's gonna be the biggest like grain of salt. It's been a while, and last is just fucked. God, this point just fucking sucks. From what I remember, at the start of last defense, third has been recently capped. We're on the perspective of defense. I like to play stairs. You can kind of treat this as like a worse version of Lakeside. If as long as you have calls, you have great way to deny this as demo. This says this is the harshest angle for their sniper to take. He has to be hugged up to the doorway or to the glass, so you can deny this better than any other spot. You have pretty immediate access to their combo. You have good spam angles. Your heavy can be close as well. This is generally playing ramp is what I remember to be meta. Sniper obviously has a ton to do here. There's a bunch of different spots that your sniper can play around. So whatever, just take the risk of spy being on you or the comfortability of being with a combo. Gun was generally mostly in this big box. I don't remember people playing in garage that much. Unlike pubs, this was mainly the hub. Dispenser around this corner while you're doing this forward hold, we'll call it. Flank control, I don't have a lot of experience with. I don't think flanks play this that aggressively. I think to start, maybe thirds cap recently, your soldier and scout can play this kind of like ammo mod on these tires. But in the likely event that they send like a combo member and flood 3 or 4 to flank just to make sure that they clear it, your flank's gonna have to leave pretty quickly. There's a lot of opportunity for flank on offense. It's like one of the kind of one silver linings. You have immediate access to secret, and you should have access to windows because defense shouldn't really be doing much to contest this. Maybe like a soldier you could commit to this on defense. So between one, two, three, you have a couple decent ways to collapse here. Even though it still is kind of a ruinous point. Other places your soldier could play, I mentioned, is this the tried and true Etny up here. Just being very boring and denying this box is good. It does a lot of work for you. But just like flank, they might flood it and commit a lot of resources to it. So be ready to react to that. Um, that's the general forward hold. If you get pushed back, maybe lose some players, you get uncomfortable, go back to the box is what I remember. This can buy you some time. It's immediate safety, but just like any other box in TF2, there's a risk. If they have Uberad, if they have a coordinated sap and bomb, you're all in one place, and you'll get fucked. So try to limit combo to this. By this point, guns might go to a more traditional passive spot, which is over here. I wouldn't recommend this, and I don't remember engineers really going this that much towards the end of UGC. But it's still a thing. If your gun just getting fucked over here and you're just trying to rebuild, this is a good like head glitch for the gun. It'll get the job done for a little bit. But if you're playing more passive by this point, it's gonna be really, really important to have window control. So having your soldier like definitively play up here is gonna be much more important. Whereas if you're doing a forward hold, it's more important for your flank and soldier to have control of tires and what I would call flank. Um, I wouldn't worry about this too much. Snipers on offense might play here. Combos on offense might get up here and use this as an advantage point, but in terms of defense, it's really all I got. It's a messed up point. Again, I don't have much great commentary to say on this. For offense, you want to play off the fact that there's so many doorways. There's upper with windows, there's flank with tires, there's this awkward space where combos can sit or snipers can, and of course there's the big sniper window. It's all about just taking whatever space you can. So if they're hard locking, main here on tracks, send 3 or 4 players, even 5 or combo at tires, and make sure you get that. You can do the same thing with window. Get space of all these places so that you can set your players up to pinch them when an Uber exchange or when a post inevitably happens. What became more common towards the end of UGC was because this ramp hold became so aggressive and so common, is that combos started putting their tellies up here in death hallway, whatever you want to call this, and started going tires, and then would get here as a defense. And snipers generally didn't play this platform because it was too risky against other snipers, soldiers, and spies. And then we'd either take the Uber straight into them on ramp if they were still here, or we would jump down. In hindsight, I don't think this would work in a modern TF2 player base because if you jump down, the pyro is going to stuff you like they should, and the gun will launch you. But that's what we used to do. But this is still a decent route if a team is playing aggressive, is going around the flank and then meeting them, immediately you're having your demo jump into them with this Uber, or, if they backed up, then jumping down, taking the space on ramp, and then fighting them box. It avoids the fact of you having to go through this sightline initially and hopefully get you some more information on their sniper. So going around that for Uber is fine. I don't ever recommend taking an Uber window, ever. Literally ever. I'm not going to commit 5 minutes as to why. I've never seen it work. Same thing with this flank. Maybe if a pyro is dead, you could take this as like a risky Uber, but again, it's a really tight choke, and if you get stuffed by a gun or body blocked or by a pyro, you're just fucked for post, and they'll have a really easy collapse on you. So I kind of like the first route I mentioned the most. If they're passive and their sniper is dead or has a sightline denied, or if he's just playing passively, of course, take tracks. It's very important for you to have this. You kind of have to treat this like sixes, where if you want to win, you got to get close to wiping them. So take with the space you can and then crunch them. Get an Uber out of them, and then try to set yourself up for that post. Spawns can be deceivingly long on offense, especially if your telly isn't up, because it's a long walk. So your life matters a bit more on offense. So just like I mentioned on the first point, if you get picks that matter and you can win off that for the post, just live. Back up, play passive, re-heal for the post exchange, and then recollapse all at the same time. Have people go through different doorways. You guys can talk about that if you want. Have someone come from flank, have someone come above, have your sniper peek. If it's free, you could have someone run straight through windows like a maniac while your combo peaks. Pinch them, because otherwise they're going to pick you off one by one. You really have to go for a coordinated team play here. And that's all I got to say. Sniper is going to be a bitch on offense because he's got so much to work with. Pushes are going to be really annoying. Don't get discouraged. The map is not played anymore for a reason. Any questions on Badwater?
How do you prevent the defending team from refighting when they die? Like in Upward, where you send soldier into battlement in the pub spot.
So
You know what I
if you
mean?
are on offense, how do you prevent the defense from getting back to like ramp?
Yeah, like if you wipe them, how do you make sure they don't just quickly flood out a spawn and stop the cap?
Swan camp. I guess if I'm understanding your question correctly, if you are on offense and you just had a good push, but they're gonna get a
Yeah.
spawn wave before you cap. The way that you prevent that in every single version of TF2, no matter the amount of players on each team, is the spawn camp. Your demo's job on almost every single payload, especially upward, is to immediately lock the spawn. So if your demo's playing towards tracks, you can lock bottom spawn. I remember doing that as a demo. I remember my soldier going upper spawn, and then this top right or toxic spawn wasn't as much of a worry because it's so much more in the open and there's so many more props that your sniper could watch it, your pyro could air blast them because they'd have to jump down anyways from guaranteed height. Locking spawns, that concept applies to every single stopwatch offense perspective to make sure that they have no chance of clutching that. It's the same way on steel.
Yeah, that was my question. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, that's Badwater. Oh man, I will spend maybe 2 minutes on Waste. It's been a very long time. No one is gonna know how to play this. Even though it's probably not what you want to hear, genuinely, I think just have fun. Just try stuff out. No one is honest. I don't really know what the current scene is like, but I highly doubt anyone else is prepping for these maps. Nonetheless, a map like Waste. So just have fun at this. If you can, don't get yourself down. It's a cup. It's meant to, you're meant to have fun and try out new shit. What I told Chip is this: if there's any one line that resonates with you, it's gonna be this. Just treat this like Asheville. This was, as I understand it, like a rudimentary Asheville. This wasn't made by the same person as Asheville, but obviously there's heavy inspiration from the mid. This is a messy map. There's a lot going on, even though it seems simple. So just treat it like Asheville. I'll show you what the map layout is like. Here's a spawn. There's a well. This is the silly, really silly part of the map. This leads you to under on mid. It's kind of a more complex Asheville, longer Asheville bottom. You can kind of think of it like Cascade as well. Very dramatic, very obnoxious. You can do it immediately from spawn, or obviously you have plenty of ravines to go into if you miss the spawn one. This doorway puts you what would be the analogous to ramp on Asheville. Very seemingly safe at the start, but obviously their team can be offensive and lock this down very aggressively. Very, very dramatic. Alternatively, we can go up to bats, which actually leads to their side. This is a weird map in that whenever it's defended like this, as you traditionally would expect. But the map is almost split, where the red team actually comes out of the quote-unquote blue team's side. That's kind of the big interesting thing. It, again, makes it scrappy because the sniper can just play up here and deny the main entrance for all of blue team. And he can also see up here, and he can also see like right into the fucking swamp. So, oh man, it is so funny. I haven't been on this map in probably a decade. This is so funny to look at again. But yeah, there's the bottom part. There's bats. There's this connecting area that's very reminiscent of Vanguard. You can shoot through this. There isn't a pro version of this map. You can just shoot through this because that's how TF2 used to be. And that's the map. Soldiers obviously like to play up here. This is a great, great soldier map. There is, I mean, it is. You have the fucking moving boxes. You have these little awkward ledges. I don't think you can build up here, but it would be worth a shot. It's an older map, but it might not be no builded. We can try that in a second. Obviously, these ledges are great for soldier. Even if you play this passively and their team starts floating out here, you can just back up and jump away. I mean, I don't know. If you want recommendations, I think just general ideas that I'm having right now. I know that some teams used to play like down here, just kind of crazy. Some teams would like walk across sewer to the other side. I do remember holding aggressively on their step, so this is their bats. I would hold here, and then have like a soldier or flank play more over here with a gun, and have your sniper watch it. You're kind of split at that point though, so you could have your combo play close, more supporting your sniper and leaving this up to flank. Try different shit out. No one's gonna know what they're doing. It's okay. And then out of curiosity, let's try out
Control point.
the to see if that thing truly is no build or not. Well, it is not no build, so if you want to have some fun, then you can build it here. I'm not gonna expend anything else on waste. I don't have insight either. It's not like I'm covering anything up. I haven't played this map in over a decade. It's just a rudimentary Asheville. Try out different shit and have fun. Last one was Granary. I told.
It's G-Pit, I think.
Oh, Gravel Pit?
Yeah.
Do you know what it is, Chip?
He's AFK getting food, you know that.
Oh no,
So
I don't know that.
What a fat ass.
He told me Granary. If it's Gravel Pit, man.
it's Gravel Pit, I swear to God.
Is it? Yeah, it's Gravel
That
Pit. Isn't
sounds
Gravel
right,
Pit
'cause
like
Gravel
5
Pit
CP
used
or
to be-
some shit?
Gravel Pit used to be played, but not I don't think Granary's ever played an Islander. Oh god.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me think if this is the same G Pit.
But ABC.
Okay, yeah. I have played G Pit then. I'm mixing it up with Forge, I think, the other one that's like gravelly. I have played this a couple times. I haven't been around forever. I'm not an absolute dinosaur to where I played this when it was a consistent map. I'm fortunate for that. But I have played this a good amount of times, probably like 10 times in Highlander. It might have been cups, it might have just been for fun or scrims or whatever. Man, I don't really know if I even want to like pull shit out of my ass. We could spend a couple minutes just if we want for fun. I remember holding on the point here. This is a really open spot. I remember this point C, I guess, being kind of, or no, that's C over there. I guess this is A, I guess. I remember this being a giveaway. The only thing I remember doing was like holding up in their spawn, because that was the only like choke that we could work with. The rest of it is so open, and look how many houses there are, and the packs are really erratic. I remember like flank has a field day on here because there's just so much mobility. It just favors mobility so much, and anything that's immobile is just so heavily punished. From what I remember, A was just a giveaway. We would default
Yeah, I
on
was told
B.
that like A was a throwaway point.
Yeah, we would default on B. You could get some minutes here on B, even though it is awkward. Obviously, we have this big house to work with. It kind of has like a Soijin thing going on here, where you have windows from upper, so soldiers will take advantage of this. Same thing with A. The best way that we figured out to defend it was don't even let them play. So we would hold this hallway for as long as we could. They can come out from different hallways, so we would have a sniper watch the other one. This is a long rotate from A, so generally people wouldn't be here for a while if you're holding B. Or holding C, I think. No, this is B, sorry. So I would usually start off here as combo. Sniper would watch this, and the A door, and we'd be fine for a while. If they broke out, then we could either meet them if it's a combo, or back up. There's a couple of spots you get back up. Of course, you get back up to point. Most teams will do this if I'm just going to predict. And it might work for a couple seconds, but if your combo fights them and then you have like a soldier go up on roof, you're going to be able to get a force very, very quickly. I remember backing up as combo to either up here with a sniper, or to top right to match. Right now, I'm kind of thinking of this as like Asheville, where I'm just matching the sight line so that I'm not in it. So if I want to hold this, I can. Or if their combo is coming from this A door or this alternate spawn, then I'm going to rotate to be closer to them so that I can deny that sightline if a sniper peeks over here and get to them faster than Uber. Obviously, the biggest thing this puts you susceptible of as a sniper, this is actually really scary. This is a fucking massive sightline, so maybe this is the safest play. Obviously, this is a massive sightline as well, but I guess there's some concessions where maybe your combo could play over here. You'll have to experiment, but this playing somewhere up here I would consider safer and more, sound mentally. This could buy you some time if you think you're going to win a fight and it's going to be scrappy. I wouldn't full send commit to playing on the point though. So forward, maybe intermission, and then more of a settled hold in the back here. I don't remember any of these transitions ever being holdable. Like with a combo, this might be held by a soldier. This would not be held by a combo, nor would this. or maybe it would. I mean, I guess let's think about C. This takes a while to cap. I think this is hilarious. Like I think this infamously is like hilarious to cap. Um, Hopefully, just for the sake of balance, this is much expedited when you're on the point, or else this would be insane. Um, well, I guess I'm gonna go back on my tongue here because I can't justify in any way holding on the point here. The closest thing I can think of is holding up here as a combo, but you're so disconnected from each of these doorways that it'd kind of be comical. Um, I remember heavies and demos playing over here for a little bit. Soldiers could also solo hold this. Kind of just treat this like you would any other map, where you're just gonna spread out how you have hold each place. So maybe a heavy and/or soldier over here, or over here you could have a demo. This is the most open to a sightline, so a sniper and maybe and a gun could watch this. I'd probably have sniper and gun watching A, probably a soldier or heavy watching or sorry, oh, there's two A doors, this right one. And then B, I'd like a demo. I remember defaulting to this as demo. It's a super choke. You don't even have to be in the doorway, and you can rotate immediately to this doorway as well in case your soldier needs help, or jump. You're very mobile. So I remember defaulting here as a demo. But that's all I really got for historical evidence. Try shit out. Just make sure people aren't alone. So you could have like a demo medic pyro over here. You could have a soldier, maybe heavy close in between that. NG gun could watch this. And you could either leave this open or have a scout or spy watch this and roam, or you could commit, maybe a heavy and a scout or a soldier and heavy over here. Whatever works for you, you can split it. Engineer is very likely to take advantage of this point, the elevation of this point the entire time on either of these tiers. You're going to be very susceptible to spy, so you could think about maybe having a pyro with you if the pyro's not doing much work, just stuff over here. I expect obviously the advantage of holding chokes is that you get the Uber out sooner. So if you make a combo pop Uber on any of these points, it means they don't have the Uber to conquer this fucking monstrosity of a height advantage for that at least 3 of your classes you're having. So that's why I recommend holding the entrances, just like every other map. That's like my just theory crafting on defense. This sounds like sounds like fun on an offense. Like I said earlier, I think maybe going long ways from A to B might be good. It would take some time, but I think it'd be the least expected, especially for flank. A should be guaranteed. If not, then just treat it like A on steel, where you just commit a couple more resources to it. B, going long seems pretty cool. You kind of have immediate access to this corner if you turn it and without dying. So this could be good access to you. If their team is playing more traditionally inside of the point, and I'm just going to predict right now, I think the vast majority of the teams you're going to go against are going to have their combo hold inside this point. This gives you immediate fuck tons of damage completely safely without having to peek. Likewise, your soldier up here, you could wrap and really fuck them over and cut them off. I like this a lot. You could also try this as more immediate. I would hope that someone holds this from their defense, but if not, it just gives even sooner access. I would predict that this is going to be the most dangerous doorway for a bit, but obviously if you get this from like a flank or a spy calling out that it's free, you get if your sniper get a brutal sightline. And then once you get control of the outer areas, the point should be free because of how choky it is. The only thing that could cause you trouble is if they're playing up here. This will admittedly be a harder gap to close. If you come from over here, this is going to be a rough one, especially if the sniper is up. If you are coming from point, then honestly pushing from point just to right here might be your best bet, just to get right in their face. You might have picked up on the trend so far, which is the best way to fight on offense is just get in their face. You want to telegraph as little as possible. If you don't know what that means, it means you want to show what you're doing as little as possible ahead of time. So like, if I go over here as a full combo and I'm walking, taking my sweet ass time, more of their team's going to see me, their spy's going to see me, and they're going to call it out. You kind of want to keep them on their toes. Just getting into their face immediately and aggressively is the best policy on any form of Highlander pushing. I digress. So yeah, I think the best hold that they're going to have against you is probably going to be up here just for the height and their sight lens, and just because they're so separated from everyone else. So pushing from here, if it's safe, is probably your best thing to do. Last, wow, this is going to be brutal. Again, my historical evidence is that this was the most contested from offense and defense combos. People would hold this. I would hope for a reason. Getting a half of the map obviously is really big. This, I guess, there's even an undersight on A here that I didn't even know. This obviously doesn't. Well, maybe this might be. Don't forget that this exists. I forgot about it. So this is an option. But like, I don't really like this from an Uber standpoint. You're kind of just in a nook. You're a lot backed against a wall. You might be able to get okay access to a gun. This is sightline heaven. I don't think I'd go here like ever. Um, so I just by process elimination, I guess this makes sense. It's a choke, but it gets you closer access to whatever is up on high ground here. You can immediately get to their spawn, especially this one, and you're not as back. You have a bit more space to work with. Um, Likewise with this one. I don't really know why these two different lobbies are separated. This is very, very silly. Um, so I would probably default to pushing one of these and seeing what happens. This seems really scary unless you have a sniper and or gun. This seems unpreferable, but I actually kind of like the flank option. It's a bit more stealthy, and even though you're on floor, being on the floor isn't always bad. You can just run across the floor and get to their combo, so it might cause some chaos. That's all I have no definitive absolute best measure. This is what you should do. So that's my theory craft. Obviously, if you get combo, then from that point, it would be your capper's points to your capper's jobs to get on the cap, and spawn camping is going to be very important. I either think that your team's got to hard stack the point and play crazy defense, or spawn camp. So either prevent them from getting to the point, or have so many on the point to where it doesn't matter. There's going to be a bit of a range. Like the only, and I would normally never ever advocate for your entire team to stack a point, but the reason I think it might work here is because their length, the sheer duration of time it's going to take respawners to get to this point, especially if they're not one of the sixes classes, is going to be brutal. And even if they are a sixes class, like this is going to take several jumps as soldier. It's going to take a while as scout. As a demo, you'd have to expend a ton of health, and you should get shot down by a sniper that's watching, a soldier that's watching, a heavy artillery, anyways. So stacking the point, honestly, might even be fine. So that's what I got as just general impressions. I gave the disclaimer at the start. I'll repeat it again in case you missed it. Again, anything I say is not absolute, especially for maps that haven't been played in so long. So hopefully this gives you just a general idea of what my thinking is. Hopefully, if you're newer to Highlander, then you learn some of the general things that just win you the game mode and win you competitive games in general. It's not sticking to something like a book. It's being light on your feet, and really the most important thing is just thinking about what advantages you have. Do we have an engineer pick? Well, we can now go. We can now push through here safely, or we can now not have to worry about bombing them. And you could go through many different examples, but just pay attention to what picks you have. Pay attention to how long respawns are, and use it to your advantage, regardless of what the map is. So, does anyone have any questions over anything? It could be for the 3 silly maps that aren't played anymore. It could be for Highlander in general.
For gravel pit, how would you respond to flank aggression from A or C as a defender?
From A to C, so like if I'm defending C.
Like if you're holding B,
Okay.
because feels like it's really easy to wrap you.
Oh, I see. So flank came from A to C. Interesting. If you're doing the hold that what I would assume to be the best, safest one, which is up here.
Safest one is up here.
Go ahead.
Oh no, that's feedback.
Oh, okay. Sorry. If you're doing the safe hold up here, then a flank from over here should have no effect because a pyro and heavy can immediately turn. If they come from over here, it'll be telegraphed and you'll see them in time. A scout might be able to rush, or a soldier might be able to bomb. That'll have the most impact if their combo also peaks at the same time. But I wouldn't be too worried about it, especially if you have a gun up. The biggest threat that I think a flank will have is if you're doing one of the more aggressive holds, either by holding right at these doorways, right along this house, or on the point. This will cause you the most trouble. And I don't think there's an explicit counter to that outside of the gun and just being self-aware. Part of the reason I don't recommend holding on the point is because of that. Is because it just there is a look. I mean, we could count there is like 8, maybe 10 entrances if you count each of these doorways and windows onto the point. That's way too many doorways to deal with as any defense on any map. And these two flanks obviously only add to that. So part of the reason I don't recommend holding the point is because of your exact concern. If you hold up front, which is probably the only thing that I would do, your team should be able to see, pun intended, this one ahead of time. If their flank is smarter or they have the call, then they'll go far here. But even then, if your team's holding close and there is a flank member over here, your pyro heavy gun should also see this. So I know it may not be a satisfying answer, but I wouldn't be concerned with flanks too much. If you're holding aggressively or holding passively, I think the biggest concern is if you're holding point, because there's so many ways for them to come from. I think it's pretty obvious or telegraphed, or just they're right in right in your face on any of the other holes that I told you about. Any other questions?
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Remember if it's a cup, then make sure you guys have fun. You know, they're